there's a story about the owner of a shoe company in the early 1900s asking two salespeople to go to a remote island to see if there was a market for shoes for the people living there. One came back and said, "Boss, I got bad news. Unfortunately, there's no market for shoes on the island. Nobody even wears shoes there." The other came back and said, "Boss, I have great news. Everyone on the island needs shoes." Winston Churchill once said, "A pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, and an optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty." Here is a definition of optimism: the disposition or tendency to look on the more favorable side of events or conditions. The way we think and perceive the world around us greatly affects how things will work out for us. Optimists and pessimists perceive the world in very different ways. Even when they experience a very similar event, they draw different conclusions and describe the event in very different terms. In this brief video, I'm going to give you the benefits of being optimistic and 3 practical strategies to increase optimism in your life. Hello, I'm Del Gilbert, and this is another Accelerating Excellence Insight. According to hundreds of well-controlled studies, research clearly shows the benefits of being optimistic. Here are a few benefits. Health. Optimists tend to live longer, have greater resistance to sickness and disease, and have lower levels of stress and anxiety. Optimists are happier. That's pretty obvious. They're more upbeat and energetic, more joyful and hopeful. Optimists are more resilient. When difficulties or obstacles come to a pessimist, it leads to a downward spiral. They tend to catastrophize. They begin to think things will never get better. Optimists are more persistent. They put in more effort. They stay more engaged in the face of difficulty because they believe in a brighter future. When bad things happen, optimists tend to keep things in perspective. They think a setback only paves the way for a comeback. Optimists tend to have stronger and better relationships. No one wants to be under a dark cloud or hang around with a downer. Optimists have encouraging, healthy, upbeat relationships. Optimists experience more job success. Optimism actually fuels performance. People with a more positive outlook are more productive and achieve better results. Pessimists are problem-oriented. Optimists are solution-oriented. You can't be great and negative at the same time. So with these benefits, how can you actually increase your optimism? Well, fortunately, optimism is a learned skill. Psychologist William James once said, "The greatest discovery in my generation is that a human being can actually alter their life by altering their attitude." I firmly believe that optimism is a choice. Although some people may be more predisposed to optimism than others, everyone can train themselves to be more optimistic. It's about focusing more on your perspective than your circumstances. It's a matter of being disciplined in your thinking. It's a matter of rewiring your brain. Henry David Thoreau gave us this very insightful thought. "As a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep physical path, we walk again and again. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over the kinds of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives." So here are 3 practical ways to increase optimism in your life. Number 1, look for the good. Find a silver lining. Rarely is there an event, situation, or circumstance that is 100% completely bad without our being able to bring some good out of it. Here are two great questions to ask yourself. How can I make the best of this situation? And what is a constructive and wise next step? When the coronavirus hit, my business tanked. I had spent 5 years trying to build a successful business. Just when it was picking up traction and gaining steam, it fell off a cliff in a matter of days. But I asked myself, how can I make the best of this situation? I had no training engagements for the foreseeable future. They all canceled, so I had time on my hands. I redirected my efforts, learned how to create videos, and transitioned much of my training to an online model. I then launched the Accelerating Excellence Online Academy. I firmly believe my business is better positioned than before, because now I have different ways to deliver training. Don't expect life to be fair or always rosy. Make the best of the most and the least of the worst. A second way to increase your optimism is to hang out with winners, not whiners. Oscar Wilde once said, "Everyone causes happiness. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go." And isn't it true that some people can brighten a room simply by leaving it? Be careful who you choose to spend time with. It's been said you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. People can either be toxic or nurturing. There are people who make things happen, and there are people who are complaining about the things that are happening to them. And misery loves company. Spend time with people who encourage you and energize you, who are making a positive difference in the world and help you do the same. A third way to increase your optimism is to lift others up. When you dig another out of their troubles, you find a place to bury your own. Encourage others, comfort others, compliment others, give others positive feedback. Remember, life is like a boomerang. What you send out comes back to you. King Solomon wrote in the book of Proverbs, "The one who blesses others is abundantly blessed, and those who help others are helped." Your inner disposition is much more important than your external circumstances. And it's been said the game of life is won or lost in the mind. And in many ways, it's true. Optimism is an inside job. Optimism is a choice. You can either look at the downside of a situation or the upside. You can get glad in the same pants you got mad in. I'm Dale Gilbert, and this is another Accelerating Excellence Insight.